And you know what that means? It's time to start on our fall crafts. Hi, my name is Katie from Lady Red Crafting, and I'm participating in a wonderful fall playlist. Let's get started with craft number 1. To start this craft, we're going to use one of these cute palettes that we got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm using my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just giving it a nice coat over the whole entire palette. Once we've painted that, we're just going to wipe that clean with a baby wipe, and it makes it look like a stain. We'll set that aside to dry. Now while that's drying, I grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss and this beautiful Hello Autumn sign that I got from the Dollar Tree. We're just going to give this a nice coat of the moss paint all over. And once the moss paint has dried, I do use my sandstone Waverly chalk paint, and I do a little bit of distressing. Now that the Hello Autumn sign is ready to go, we're going to put everything together. Using our super wood glue from the Dollar Tree, I just go ahead and place a few dots on the back side of the sign with some hot glue. And we're just going to clamp this onto our little palette, and I'm using the little pink clips that I have from the Dollar Tree as well, and they work great for clamping items onto other items to help the glue adhere better. And this beautiful ribbon I did get at Walmart, and I love it. It's amazing. I'm using it in a lot of my fall crafts this year. And I just made a basic bow, and we're just going to hot glue this right onto this palette. Now that we have everything glued together, we have a beautiful rustic palette that we can put on our tier tray. Craft number 2. So I believe these are new to Dollar Tree this year for the fall, and they have 3 different styles of these rolling pens. And I bought this Give Thanks one because I liked it a lot the way it was, but I did think that we could improve on it. So what I'm going to do is I remove the little bow and I take off the sticker from the back. And if you noticed, I was using my hot tool to help loosen up some of that glue, and that does help a lot with removing some of those items. Next, I'm going to grab my blue painter's tape, and what we're going to do here is just tape around the handles on this rolling pen, because I want to paint the rolling pin handles a different color. And I grabbed burnt umber from Apple Barrel, and I thought the darker color would just give it a richer look. So we're just going to go ahead and paint over the rolling pin handles here. It did take me 3 coats to get a nice coat over the top of these. So I don't want you guys to have to worry about watching that. So with the magic of videos, we'll just have that all done for you in just a moment here. So now that all that paint has dried, we'll just remove the blue painter's tape. And I'm going to flip this Give Thanks over to the back side. And once we do that, we're going to put that on a paintable surface here. And I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in the color Sandstone. And I'm going to do a nice thick coat on the back side of this rolling pen. And this paint covered pretty good, and I only had to do 1 coat. Next, I grab my heat tool and I just give it a quick dry. Now while that is finishing drying, I grab a napkin, and this napkin I did get on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description box below. I use a small piece of blue painter's tape so that I can separate the top layer off of the napkin. And we're going to decoupage this onto the back side of this rolling pen. So using my Mod Podge in matte, I'm just going to go ahead and paint the back side of this rolling pen. So once all of that Mod Podge has dried, I'm going to grab the napkin, and we're just going to position it over the top of the rolling pin. And we're going to find a nice print on the napkin that we like, and then we're going to stop and cut a rectangle out of the napkin about 1 inch bigger than the actual rolling pin on each side. And once we've done that, we're going to lay that right down on top of the rolling pin, and I just grab a piece of parchment paper and I lay that over the top of the napkin, and using my iron, I just go ahead and iron that napkin right onto the Mod Podge. And that iron heats up that glue. If you haven't tried this before, it's amazing. And the napkin sticks to the rolling pin just perfectly. Next, I grab my zip sander, and if you haven't watched my videos before, it's one of my favorite tools in my toolbox. And I just start sanding in a downward motion. And I like to do this because, you know, I don't always cut a straight line. And if I have the paper a little bit bigger, I just get this nice little edge, and it just fits perfectly by sanding that at the end. And I really like how that looks. And if you notice there, I just had to touch up a little bit of paint on the handles because of the sander, but it looks great. Next, I grab my Mod Podge again and just do a nice top coat over the top of this napkin. And this ribbon's pretty wide. It's a little bit over an inch. And so I decided that I wanted to just cut lengthwise down the ribbon about 9 inches down, and then I just make 2 smaller ribbons. And what I'm going to do here is just make 2 basic bows, and we're going to go ahead and hot glue these onto our rolling pin. And I'm going to put one on one side for give thanks, and then I want to put the other one on the other side of the rolling pin, right about the same spot as the opposite side, just so that way it kind of gives it more of a seamless look. So either way you flip the rolling pin over, it just looks beautiful. This lovely rolling pin is now ready for your tiered tray. So this month I'm participating in this wonderful fall DIY playlist. I want to say thank you to Chantel, Brenda, and Amanda for hosting this playlist. Please join me in watching all of these lovely ladies and their videos down below. On to craft number 3. So for this craft, I found this beautiful ceramic tag at the Dollar Tree and a rub-on transfer that I believe was from last year's fall collection, but they still had them at our Dollar Tree. And it said grateful, thankful, and blessed. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the little greenery along the bottom because I really just wanted that black and white look. And I'm just going to do the whole rub-on transfer on this tag. And this is perfect for a tiered tray, ladies. And we could just leave it like this, but I decided that I wanted it to be the end of a garland. So I go ahead and grab some twine, and I grab my lighter as well, and I just burned a little bit of the fuzz right off of the twine just to clean it up a little bit before I started to string some beads on this. So I do get a lot of my beads from Amazon, and so the larger beads that I am using here were from Amazon, and same with the taupe colored beads. And the white beads, I believe I got at the Dollar Tree with the packages that they have sometimes with just all black or all white. And once I've got my pattern down, I go ahead and I just get everything strung up. I start by tying the one end to the tag. And once that tag is tied up tight, I will go ahead and trim the twine. And I stuff the extra little piece of twine inside that first bead so you can't see it. Next, I'm going to grab some of that ribbon that I love so much, and I did get this ribbon at Walmart if you didn't see that earlier, and I'm just going to tie that at the top there just to finish the tag off and just give it a nice little rustic look. And then what I'm going to do is cut another small piece of the ribbon, and I'm going to use that on the other end of the garland. And we're just going to have that tied there, just a little knot. We're not even going to do a bow or anything. We just want it to be nice and rustic. And to make sure that this stays attached, I'm going to double knot the twine up and around the knot of the ribbon. And this is a simple tag that you can use for your tiered tray or on any sort of self decor. Craft number 4. To start this craft off, we're going to use these foam balls that I got from the Dollar Tree and some fabric. And for these foam balls, I'm going to go ahead and just slice off about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the ball so it'll sit on the shelf nice and flat. Next, I'm going to take my piece of fabric. This fabric I did get from Temu, but you could use any fabric square you want, and it's about a 4x4 square. And I'm going to take this fabric and I'm going to clip it corner to corner with one of my pink clips, just so that it's kind of pulled tight. Next, we're going to grab our glue gun, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold the fabric, and we're going to make like little pleats of fabric going all the way around the ball until we make our little pumpkin. Now once we've glued the fabric around the whole entire ball, there will be a little bit of fabric left over. We're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to set the ball aside, and I'm going to grab a bamboo skewer, and I'm going to paint the pointy side with my brown umber apple barrel paint. And we're just going to dry that really nicely, and then we're going to take the skewer and we're going to stick that into the styrofoam at the top of this pumpkin. Next, I'm going to grab my clippers. I'm just going to clip the piece of bamboo, and then I'm going to just touch up the top there with a little bit of paint. And once everything is dry, we're going to go ahead and finish folding down the fabric and gluing it into place. Now to finish this pumpkin off, I'm just going to grab some of my berry garland from the Dollar Tree, and I'm wrapping it around a bamboo skewer to give it a curly cue. And next we just go ahead and add that into our pumpkin, and you're able to take that wire that's in that garland and just kind of stick it into the styrofoam right next to the stem. And if that doesn't work for you, you can just hot glue it. Now I'm going to grab some Spanish moss and just put that around the rim of the stem here. So I add a little bit of hot glue and I just add that Spanish moss all around it. And if there's too much Spanish moss, you can just give it a quick little haircut and make it look the way you'd like it to look. And this cute little pumpkin is ready to put on your tiered tray. And what's great is that this is a very economical craft that you can make a bunch of pumpkins with $1.25 and one piece of fabric. And now here's a quick look at our first 4 crafts. Now on to our 5th and bonus craft. So the Dollar Tree right now has these cute little wood acorns. And so what I'm going to do here is I put the acorn on a paintable surface, and I'm using the light mocha in apple barrel. And I found that it was easier to just paint the bottom half with the light mocha, and then I just set it down on the top half and let it dry for a few minutes. And then once that was dry, I went ahead and I used my burnt umber apple barrel paint to paint the top part of the acorn. And now I'm going to set that aside to dry, and once everything is dry, I grab a little piece of a petal, and this was a wood flower that I had used in a previous craft, and this one had broke, so I decided to save it in case I needed it for another craft. And it works perfect as a little stem for these acorns. So if you have these little wood flowers from Dollar Tree from the spring, these are perfect to just break apart and make some little wood acorns with them. And then I added a small piece of twine and I made that into a nice little bow, and I just glued that right on top. Now if you don't have that little flower, you can use the garland. And for this garland, I'm not even using the berry portion of it. The berry actually falls off and I don't even use it. I just use the curly Q, and I'm just going to add that to the top of my acorn. After I've attached that with some hot glue, I use a little bit of Spanish moss just to make it look a little prettier. And then I'm going to add another one of those cute bows onto the top of the acorn. Acorns are just so much fun to make. They're perfect little extras to put on your tiered tray. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember, craft more, stress less.